going to put some spine crawlers out here by the Xel'Naga Watchtower to try to keep any proxy forces that the Protoss player Texmix may try to get out here. He's going to keep those off of his base as much as possible. And it looks like the first Colossus coming out from Texmix right now, he is putting down another robotics facility as well. So he is going to stick very heavily to this robotics tech. And it looks like he actually has a Twilight Council as well, which, as we saw earlier, he was researching the Zealot legs. So he is going to try to use these Zealots as kind of a meat shield wall in the front lines, and then use the Colossus from the back with that extended thermal lance upgrade to basically take shots at that Zerg army from a distance, which if you can get a decent amount of Colossi, as I mentioned in previous casts that I've done, a lot of Colossi can one-shot a decent amount of Zerg units because the splash damage that they do just piles up so quickly, and it does it in a straight line. And the way the pathing and auto-attacking works in StarCraft 2, it's much better than StarCraft 1. You don't see units attacking in a single line very often. They do a very good job of evening themselves out, but unfortunately when that evens out like that against those Colossi, creating a perfect line for those Colossi to just get a lot of shots in. And this one Zergling actually may get a Zealot kill, as it doesn't look like Texmix is aware that it is being attacked by this Zergling when he's trying to take down these rocks over at the high yield base here. There you go, he finally manages to take it down, almost losing that one Zealot here. And the Zealot actually only had about 28 hit points left. So, but a lot of units coming out here trying to take these down. A couple sentries in the mix as well, so probably going to use that to block in some of the Zerglings and Hydralisks once these two forces collide, as Texmix does like to use those force fields. He is very good at controlling those, and he is actually going to be trying to take the high yield base of his own back on his side of the map here. And he is moving out with this army, which I don't know if this is going to be enough. There's a lot of Hydralisks and Zerglings from the Zerg player right now. As you can see, he has a decent amount of units. If we take a look at the unit overlay here, we can see that there are 18 Zerglings, 28 Hydralisks, to the two sentries, 3 Colossi, and 17 Zealots. So a decent amount, a very large amount of units for both players. Although I think at this point we've got to say the advantage goes to the Protoss player. I'm sorry, the Zerg player. But the Protoss player very smartly putting his Colossi up on the high ground. But with the control of that Xel'Naga Watchtower, the Zerg player is going to be able to see those high ground Colossi and actually is going to be able to take shots. The Zerg player still has a larger army, but it looks like he is going to back off. One Colossi on the verge of being taken down here, and actually is going to get focus fired down, although the Hydralisks for some reason are going to back off here, trying to kite that Colossi off of the high ground. Manages to get him off the high ground, gets a few more shots in, and the Zealots come in to try to clean that up, but they are going to be taken down by this large amount of Hydralisks and Zerglings, and the last Colossi from the Protoss player goes down. So once again, Zoink decidedly winning that battle there, as he is able to reinforce from the front entrance of his base, and Texmix continuing to try to produce these Colossi. We do not see any Corruptors out on the map for the Zerg player right now, despite the fact that he does have a Spire, although it looks like he is getting some Mutalisks out right now. He does currently have 11 on the map, and taking a look at the production overlay here, we can see that he is continuing to produce them with another 7 about ready to hatch here, which will be very strong against this Protoss army because the Colossi and Zealots, neither of them can attack air. So if there is a decent amount of air Mutalisks on this map here, and I'm sorry, a lot of gateways going down for for Texmix right now. I'm going to need to get some water here because my voice is very dry from doing all these games today. But anyways, a lot of gateways going down here, and he is researching Blink, so we may see him switch to the Stalker tech here very shortly. He is getting this high yield base up and running right now. No simulators going yet, but he does have probes saturating the gold minerals pretty well. But all of these Mutalisks moving out right now. There are 18 Mutalisks on the board. At least in this group right now. A few more coming up right now, so more than 20 Mutalisks. I'm going to look at the units overlay here. Yeah, we can see 22 Mutalisks and a bunch of Roaches, Hydralisks, and Zerglings. So a very diverse unit mix from the Zerg player right now, although he does not have any Infestors in the mix right now, which I have seen Infestors used a lot to counteract the Colossi, because if you can take control of a couple of high tech units like these Colossi, then it can definitely turn the tide of a battle. But who needs those Infestors when you can just take the Colossi down with mass Mutalisks, because there is not enough anti-air to deal with these Mutalisks rather. And you can see that he did lose 6 Mutalisks, but those 6 Mutalisks were definitely worth the cost of taking down those Colossi. So that was definitely a trade in the favor of the Zerg player, I would say. And it looks like Texmix actually is going to go for another base here over on the right side. So both players actually expanding a lot across the map right now. and we can see that the Zerg player has not produced any more Mutalisks as of yet, going to stick with the 16 that he currently has, but continuing to produce a lot of roaches. And Texmix actually going to stick with this Stalker army for the time being, it looks like. And Blink has finished researching, I think. He does have 20. Yeah, there you go. You can see blinking up to take care of these Mutalisks, and a lot of those Mutas going down just from that one blink. He was able to deal with those Mutalisks very efficiently. But unfortunately for the Protoss player, Texmix, there are a lot of Zerglings, Hydralisks, and Roaches just lying in wait back at the Zerg player's base, which Texmix may think that he is actually in pretty good shape here because he's taken down a decent amount of Mutalisks. But unfortunately for him, there is a large amount of other Zerg units just moving across here. He is able to take down all of these Mutalisks with the exception of 3, which it looks like he may even get these last few here. So all of the Zerg Mutalisks are going to be taken out. There is actually one more around the map somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but Zoink has managed to get up another expansion on the left side of the map. So both players actually staying very even in the number of expansions. If we look at the income, though, the Zerg player actually does have a couple hundred mineral lead per minute on the Protoss player, so he's going to have a slight economic advantage, which, as we can see, may very well be accounting for the difference in the army size right now, which we can see that there are 12 Zealots, 3 Colossi, 27 Stalkers, and 1 Sentry out, but that is actually a little bit small compared to the 29 Zerglings, 29 Hydralisks, 1 Mutalisk, and 22 Roaches that we see from the Zerg player right now. So I definitely think that the Zerg player's army outsizes the Protoss player a little bit right now, and as we can see in the unit overlay, though, there is more resources invested in the Protoss player's army currently, but there are 2 very large armies on the map right now, and it looks like the Zerg player is going to try to move out against Texmix right now. So we'll see exactly who has the stronger army here in just a second, as both players are nearly maxed out at 191 and 196 of 200 supply. So we are going to see a very large battle right now, and then after that battle, it'll be a question of who can actually macro up more units quickly. And one Roach getting fired down very quickly by these Stalkers, trying to blink most of those Stalkers up onto the high ground, and a lot of those Zerglings going down very quickly to that combined fire of the Colossi. And it looks like these Hydralisks are going to go down very quickly to those Colossi and Colossi and Stalkers as well. And the Protoss player just decimating that Zerg force so quickly, and he is actually going to move out across the map and press that advantage that he has just now gotten. And as you can see, the army size, very few resources invested in the army of the Zerg player right now, as he has just lost a huge portion of his army, just now getting out a lot more Roaches and Hydralisks, but this may not be enough to deal with this force. Of course, Stalkers, Immortals, and Colossi are all very good at dealing with this Zerg Roach Hydra army, and you can see a lot of those units just getting burned down by the fire of those Colossi, and Zoink is going to GG. So game number 1 is going to go to Texmix. As I mentioned, he is a very good player, and you can see just how good he is in this first game. We're going to move on to game 2 and see if SC2 Armory can sweep the first 3 games of this matchup between the community sites. We're going to move on to game number 2 right now. GG.